Well, folks, for Horror Movie Month, I decided to review The Gallows, which was directed by Travis Clough and Chris Loffing, and they also wrote the movie and made really good use of a really small budget to tell the story of what happens when you piss off a ghost, a vengeful spirit that is in a high school auditorium. Now, I'll recount the plot. There'll be spoilers from here on out. If you haven't seen it to this point, if I lost you at found footage, keep watching the review. Please, I really do appreciate it. But I don't blame you if you don't want to watch the movie if you're tired of found footage stuff. Now, I will say this is a cut above some of the ones that were out there. It's a cut above a couple of the Paranormal Activity movies, especially the later ones. The writers, directors did make good use of their budget with some nice lighting and good atmosphere and some effective if kind of basic acting. I mean, there isn't you're not going to a movie like this to really get some great acting, but it starts off showing some footage from a camcorder in 1993, where there's this boy Charlie. It's in a high school play, and he's acting doing the scene, and he's supposed to get up on these gallows that are built and be hung. I mean, not actually be hung, but, for the effectiveness of the play. Unfortunately, the panel below him gives way, and he actually is hung and dies right there on stage. And for years and years, nobody said the boy's name. Nobody went into the school at night because you didn't. You didn't say the name because it was bad luck. And also, oh yeah, he died in the high school, so his spirit is haunting the whole damn thing. It's like White Day, a labyrinth named school. If you remember that, game for PC, I believe it was a Korean horror game. I had a buddy who had a copy of it. It's like the story of why you don't go into school at night if a school's haunted. This is done on a smaller scale. Do not get me wrong, but anyway. So Charlie dies, and 20 years later, there's this girl named Pfeiffer that has been pushing for this play to be done. You get to find out why later. And there's Pfeiffer. There's a boy named Ryan who is filming everything. He's a jokester, a prankster, doesn't really take anything seriously, and is kind of a general dick. the character, not the actual actor. And he has his best friend Reese, who's in the play, who's a jock, but also wants to be in the play. He feels a compulsion to finish the play. Even if he knows he's not very good at acting, he wants to not let the cast down. He doesn't want to abandon the cast, even if he knows he's not very good and he thinks he's going to stink it up. He doesn't want anybody to have to sub for him and have anything bad happen. And then you get to find out why. Maybe he should have gone with his talk to his friend, and he should have listened to his friend about not doing this play. Also, you have Ryan's girlfriend, the blonde Cassidy. She was in the trailer, the one that was crying and all the red lights by the stairwell and everything. If you remember that part of the trailer. But again, everybody who actually has characters by that name are their actual names. So it wasn't very hard for them really to do to like stretch and wait, what's my name? What's my motivation? Oh, you're you running from this ghost and trying to get out of this school. And for about, I think once they get some of the fluff out of the way, the last hour basically takes place in the school. But Ryan has a camera. He's filming everybody, messes with a stagehand and stuff like that. And he talks to this older blonde lady that was actually part of the original play and was actually there and saw the whole thing happen and whatever. And so you're like, oh dear God, that must have been something horrifying, and how in the world would she have been able to not necessarily live with herself, but how could she go on seeing something that horrific? But yet here she is. And she seems to have a special investment in watching this play happen, even if she feels it shouldn't happen. But then you get to find out her motivations a little bit later. This is a bit like there's a lot of cliches in this movie. After some setup and everything, you have Ryan that's talking to Reese and says, Reese, you're not any good at this play. You're going to stink up the damn joint. I mean, I love you, but you're going to stink up this damn joint. Let's go in and break up the set, and then you won't have to worry about that stuff. Let's break into the school at night. I found this door that never locks, which is kind of stupid for any kind of school. I mean, whether it's old or not, to have a door that never locks, so people could just break in and just do whatever. I mean, even though the school's haunted, so why would anybody do that? Let's break in, and at night, after everybody leaves, bring my girlfriend. We'll go bust this whole damn thing up. Well, actually, the girlfriend agrees to come along, and Ryan doesn't want to bring her, and they start busting some shit up and everything. Start busting shit up and whatever. And they start hearing some weird noises, as you're going to hear, in a haunted fucking school. And then that girl Pfeiffer shows up. And Reese seems to have a thing for Pfeiffer. It gets revealed, even though he comes up with some BS excuse as to why they were there, like he just wanted to practice his lines, that they were there to wreck up the set and stuff like that. And then you get a whole lot of bickering, a whole lot of stuff, and you get people that eventually die. Like, really, there isn't a lot of layers to these characters. There really isn't. Generally, like, the last 50 minutes, except for, like, the last, like, 3 or 4, take place entirely in the school. And with darkness, but there is some really, really good lighting effects from the camera and the red lighting effects of, like, this ghost possessing, and affecting the mood, this ghost Charlie, who is out for vengeance. He doesn't want this play to happen, and he's trying to dispatch to these people, and he particularly cares for one person. Well, as things go on, Reese manages to find an old picture of something. This is right after he sees a video. They break into this weird part of the school where there's this TV that's suddenly playing, and this, static, and this kind of stuff, and then it comes on, and it shows footage of the play. And then one of the last frames of it before the tape and everything shuts off is what looks like Reese. Turns out to be his dad. His dad did not want him to do this play, and that's why. Because his dad was supposed to be the one in Charlie's place. And Charlie was a sub. And that's why Charlie died. And that's why Charlie, as a ghost for 20 fucking years, is pissed the fuck off. I think I would be too if I died trying to help somebody out and everything. I think I'd be pretty pissed off too. So you get bumps in the night. You get the locker doors opening, slamming shut. Some nice mood, some nice atmosphere, some nice long shots of a hallway. And some effective scenes, like some parts of the school where you're like, this doesn't even look like it should be part of a school. It looks like it should be part of a boiler room or something. There's the usual people get separated and stuff like that. The first one, almost everybody dies. Well, I mean, with the exception of one person. You get to find out later why. But the stupid guy, the stupid character, Ryan, he dies because he gets up on a ladder and is antagonizing the spirit. Great idea. And he falls up a ladder, shatters his leg. And then Charlie attacks him, hangs him and everything. Hangs him up high, even though you don't find his body till later. And then Cassidy gets a rope wrapped around her neck. Like, seemingly she gets rope burns that look like they're starting to get infected because a spirit is trying to attack her and kill her, or a demonic presence or something. It really never is too clear necessarily on the rules of this. And then you have Reese, Pfeiffer, and Cassidy trying to escape. Cassidy gets separated from him. And then the one effective scene, it's like really, really good with how they do this stuff. Like, so you got the scene where you have Pfeiffer crying right over here. Because you got the stairwell. You got this one stairwell that's going down, and this one stairwell that's ascending. So you get her crying and crying, and it's all dark. And then just gradually you see the ghost of Charlie, in the hangman's gear and everything, executioner's gear, just appear in the frame. It's a really cool shot. I will give massive credit to the filmmakers for that. That was a really effective scene. And she's crying, everything. And then she gets the really effective just of how Charlie appears. The noose appears. And then she grabs the camera because she's trying to see what's going on. She's checking her wound, and her wound's like all infected. And she's crying. And then all of a sudden, she puts the camera down, ropes around her neck, and she gets dragged down. So she's dead. And then Pfeiffer and Reese are trying to escape. And they're up in the attic area or above the stage area. They find the bodies of Ryan and Cassidy. They're trying to escape. And then they suddenly see that the door's open. So they haven't been able to get out up to this point. Haven't been able to get out. Suddenly the door's open. And it's a way to escape. So Reese has got a hold of Pfeiffer's hand. They've run out. And Pfeiffer's suddenly back in the stage. He gets outside. So instead of being smart and knowing that something's up, he runs back in there. Because he was out. He could have been safe. Because he wanted to be a nice guy, he decides to run back in there, and suddenly they're back on the stage. And like this lighting part, there was like, the scene earlier where they were acting out the play, and it's really, really goofy and everything. Then they have really effective moment where suddenly it's like they're back in the play and Pfeiffer's just playing her character and playing her character. So he says that he will basically sacrifice himself. You need to run. She doesn't run. He gets hung by the ghost. And then she celebrates, like bows, takes a bow and everything, and you hear one person applauding in the crowd. Light comes on. You don't get to see the person entirely. It's the blonde woman. That's her daughter. It was a way to get revenge for Charlie, who knows, probably is the father of Pfeiffer. I mean, it was never said, but it was pretty much alluded to. And then, so you get done with that, so you think, okay, we're at the end of this. No, the police suddenly show up at Pfeiffer and her mom's house, and it's only 2 cops. So they're in there, and one cop is like staying behind. One cop goes ahead, gets in this room, all this gear, all this bullshit and everything is there. Stuff from like the play, and he's looking, and the mother's brushing the hair and this kind of stuff. And yeah, I'm spoiling the whole damn movie, but guess what? It's ridiculous. She's brushing her hair and they're watching this play and this kind of stuff. And he says, "Is that Charlie?" And they you shouldn't say that name. There's a cat there, and the cat ends up living, so that's all great. But he's calling for his partner. His partner gets, slammed into a wall, has a noose around his neck, and he's getting hung up. He turns around, sees Charlie. Charlie has the noose, attacks him, and ends scene. It's like 73 minutes. 73 minutes. And should you watch this movie? I mean, I'm just going to say right now, I am going to put spoilers in. Spoilers are going to be in the title. But if you watch to this point, you're upset I spoiled the whole movie. Sorry. The movie isn't. The movie is fine for what it is. It is not very effective if you dissect it. But if you take it as it is fine. It is perfectly fine. I don't know whether they're going to do a sequel. Apparently they are going to do the Gallows Act 2, Electric Boogaloo. And if they release that in theaters, I'll watch it because the Gallows was effective enough. But it wasn't great. But anyway, that's what I got to say about it. So yeah, it's a bit of a long review for a movie that's 73 minutes. Well, what do you got? Have you seen The Gallows? What did you think of it? Let me know in the comments. Like, share, subscribe. Twitter handle in the description. It's been Real Honesty with John Lynn, and I will see you soon.